Hey guys, it's Bill from Linden, Tennessee. Got a little update. This one is going to be a mess. I've got quite a few things I sort of want to talk about. Probably actually talk about not very many of them. Anyway, so last we spoke, I had just got this front battery box in there, loaded up with all the batteries, and there's the lifting device. I don't think that was on there last time, just talked about it, but anyway, that's it. And you just lift it up. I was trying to figure out how I'm going to run all the wires and stuff. Man, am I limited on space. I took the air conditioner condenser out just to see what I've got. I've got to put at least one radiator somewhere. I'd like to put them both in the front. I'd really like to use the factory radiator, but it's just too wide. I just can't get it in there. Even without the condenser in there, it's just not going to work. So that's okay. And I would like to have a condenser in there because at some point I'd like to have air conditioning. But it's a Jeep, for crying out loud. You take the top off, you don't use air conditioning. That's what I tell myself. But the challenge is to get air conditioning in there someday. Anyway, what else have I been up to? I got the drive unit back in there. And the reason I did that is because I have to mount the contactor box, basically the box with all the contactors in it. And that's where it's going. It's going to go right there where the gear shift lever was and the transfer case lever was and all that stuff. I took my angle grinder and cut a big old square out of the middle of the transmission hull and I made a little box out of 14 gauge sheet metal around the sides and a piece of 1/8 inch sheet metal on the bottom. I used 1/8 inch because you can drill and tap that, and then all the contactors and stuff that need to go in there, you can just drill and tap straight into that 1/8 inch, and you don't have to worry about nuts and washers and all that stuff on the backside. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And what else? Yeah, I needed the drive unit in there because I needed to see how much room above it I had to put a box. How deep can I go with a box? At some point, this box will be covered by a custom center console. I've been downloading YouTube videos left and right trying to figure out how to do this using MDF and all kinds of stuff. But let's talk about contactors. We'll talk about speakers, or we'll talk about center consoles and stuff like that later. I'm gonna climb in there real quick. Bear with me. Okay. Yeah. So inside this contactor box is kind of sort of the heart of this whole vehicle. This is all the high voltage parts. They're the high voltage electronic parts. So on the right side, sort of middle, is a contactor. That's the contactor that came with the drive unit kit from Stealth EV, and that's basically, well, it's what sends the positive, or connects the positive battery to the drive unit, to the inverter inside the drive unit. On the left side, I will be replacing that with a Gigavac contactor like the one on the right, the black one. Partially because I'm OCD, but also because the one on the left, I don't know exactly, I don't really remember where I got that. All I know is that it's dirty. So I may have used it for something. I may never have used it. I really don't know where I came up with that. I don't know. So I don't know its life. I don't know its history. So I'm going to replace it with a new one. I won't have to worry about it. Bottom of the screen, on the left and the right, there are two distribution blocks. May or may not actually use those. So back up a little bit. On the right side of the box is where all the positive comes in. The far right hole in the back there is where the positive for the battery comes in. The one next to that is the most positive terminal from the battery that'll go straight onto that contactor. And then on the far left side, we've got two sort of mirrored. The one on the far left is for the battery inverter negative, the drive unit negative, and then the one just next to it is for the battery most negative. Both of those will go to the contactor there on the left. The one in the middle comes from the 6.6 kilowatt charger slash DCDC converter. So that'll come in and it'll either, well, the positive going into the DCDC converter, the 400 volts, will run through one of those white fuse blocks. The 400 volts DC coming out of the charger will also go through one of those white fuse blocks and go to either the positive battery terminal there on the right, or just straight to the contactor. Probably go with the terminal block, because things just get really crowded on that contactor, and it's not what it's designed for. So thank you. I've just decided what I'm going to do. Thanks for helping me out. Then on the left side, the negative terminal block, that's where the charger will come in, the charger negative will come in, and the DC-DC converter 400 volt out will go out. And both of those terminal blocks will just be attached to the contactors, with a number 10 wire or something. I don't know, number 4 wire, who knows. The contactor on the left is for completing the circuit of the negative side of the battery. And you want to do that because the BMS, the Orion 2 BMS, if it notices any sort of current flow and it hasn't authorized it personally, it'll send up a error code, and I guess bad things happen. I'm not really sure, but that's one of the things that I've got to program and figure out. The BMS is a nightmare. I'm dreading it, but we'll get through it. Also, more parts. So this little dude, this is a current sensor, an inductive current sensor. That'll just go right there. So the most negative battery cable comes in right there. I may have said all that stuff backwards. Anyway, most negative battery cable is going to be right there going into the contactor. It goes into the contactor in here, and then whenever the BMS says yes, we're going to allow current to flow. It'll connect that contactor, and then current can flow through the positive battery junction terminal thingy there. And yeah, that's it. And then whenever it's time to make the motor run, this contactor will go, but it won't do it immediately. It has to, there's a pre-charge that has to happen to all the monster capacitors that are in the inverter. And that's what this little doohickey for is. Now originally Stealth EV sent one of those mini contactors, in fact that mini contactor, sent that with it and intended to be for the pre-charge circuit. But this little contactor came out of a Nissan Leaf battery pack, and that's what its purpose was, is for the pre-charge of the Nissan Leaf drive unit. The little gold dealie back there is a resistor. So this pre-charge thing, what it does is there'll be one wire will come from here, and it'll go into this contactor, and then come out of this contactor, go into that side of the resistor, come out of the resistor on that side, and then go to the other side of the contactor. And then when this contactor is energized, it'll complete that circuit, and then power from the most positive battery terminal here will go through the resistor over to the motor inverter, out the motor inverter, and through that resistor will slowly charge up those capacitors. And then once they are fully charged up, then this contactor itself will complete the circuit, and the resist, and then that relay will just turn off. The little pre-charge relay will turn off. So that's how that works. If you didn't have that pre-charge circuit in there, as soon as this closed, there'd be a humongous inrush of current to charge up those capacitors. And you may get away with it once or twice, but it would not last very long. That's a fact. So that's what that is. Then there's going to be a lid that goes on top of that, and then mounted to that lid will be the actual BMS, the Orion 2 BMS. They've mounted to that, and all the all the wires from the battery boxes will come into that, and then also on there somewhere will be the thermistor expansion module. That'll be in here somewhere. As for this monster hole here, I have to keep I can't just cover this. I have to have this hole here so that I can get the motor, so I can drop the motor up and down. So I'm going to have to cover up that hole somehow. It's a bit of an eyesore, and I got this big hole here from where the transfer case lever came through. I can permanently close that. I can probably just use these existing nut certs and I don't know, get a piece of sheet metal or something and just kind of form it around there and just lock her down. Let's see what else. That's really all there is. That's all I kind of got to share with you on this video. I appreciate everybody watching. I'm having fun doing this thing, and I hope you're enjoying watching it. So keep tuned in, and we'll see you later.